It's like being in the nature is like so good to get out of this monkey mind. So in digging into my own self and brain and life, I find it very peculiar to see that, this asphyxiation with symbols. I was very often wanting to connect with people and to put projects, ideas out into the world. And I think many of us we have things that we're not happy about, that piss us off. It could be random things like, the way a lot of the things we're also taught to be unhappy about, such as plastic and rubbish and CO2, and we should be taking care of the environment. And as a individual growing up in a system where there's a lot of complaining about it, the legal structure, the work, it puts like a trap on your mind. You start to notice and see things. We train each other to look out for patterns that we don't like, that frustrate us. And a lot of us walk around with constant frustration in our day-to-day lives. It's really quite sad, because it's quite easy to get what it is that we really care about. It's not that hard, actually. Somehow we've made it so hard. It's become difficult to find peace and relaxation, and not to be stressed, to find joy. Many people want to do things and they don't, and maybe they only do them once they're retired or never. Just getting out of this lethargy and malaise and into empowerment, self-belief, connection. It's very important. I think a good example, the best example I have of this is the way that we structure and think of power, because I think majority of people, at least in the Western world, are employed doing things that they don't like to do. And this is not good. And this, all sort of excuses we tell ourselves for doing things. I think it's of critical importance to understand why we do what it is that we're doing and what it is that we want to do. What is the purpose? I was talking to the owner here of the property, and he was saying, he's giving a coaching, and it's always about what is the purpose of my existence. And that is, why are you standing at that desk, that office, or with those people? What is it that's driving that behavior? Where is it that you want to go? How are you going there? Why aren't you going there? Very good questions. Imagine having an idea for a community. This place, they do sweat huts and sweat hut. I don't know what. That's the translation from German. They have different rituals and stuff. I should probably read up more about what it is they actually do. That's a cool painting. It kind of looks like a person with a crow flying over him. Yeah, and like this place, it's not something one could run on one's own, right? There's many adventures and things that we do and goals that we have as people that we need to work together to perform. And this is the thing, right? How do we come together and manage ourselves? And I was coming back to this point of people being employed to do things that they don't want to do. It's a bit of a slave mentality, this ownership mentality. You will only belong to the company, receive the benefits and so on, as long as you play their dance. As long as you conform to what's expected of you. I mean, I'm sorry my brain works like this. It just does. I just make so many different connections to different things. So it's hard for me to keep a thread. Damn it. And of course, in our relationships to our loved ones, our parents, our friends, again, generalities here, but I think many of us have such strong expectations put on us from people. If we do not, I think the biggest one is around how we behave sexually. Many cultures and parents try really to conform, to make us conform to their way of loving other people and expressing ourselves. And there's a reason I think we tried to, or people have traditionally taught their kids this. Probably because they thought it was right. So we have this cognitive error, thinking one understands how the world is, be that some sort of a religious philosophy or other sort of beliefs about how one should be living. Disillusioned, really. Why am I having the camera in my face? But besides being disillusioned, I just spend more time in the nature. I think my brain it works better and more concise and streamlined and clear when I've just got here. I need to spend a couple of days or weeks or months, I think, and can start to follow my own thoughts. Let's go take a look at those teepees. Okay, so I got the point back. So another reason why I believe we teach people to live or love a certain way is safety. So we want that safety of the tribe to fit into the society, and this conformance, teaching conformance to our children, and not accepting certain behaviors or ways of being or attitudes that may not be in that realm, is how we deal with them. Now let's go in here. Let's go in here for a bit. Cool to make a fire. So it's really quite backwards how we pay people pay us to do things we don't want to do. And then we try and do more of that. We try to really do what we don't want to do a lot so that we can get a pay rise. So that we can keep doing what we don't want to do more. It's like most people wouldn't have anything to do with each other if they were not work colleagues, or wouldn't be doing or seeing, or like the whole life would look so different if it wasn't for this mental trap that we find ourselves in. And I know there's going to be a lot of excuses that people have, and I don't feel like talking about them and going into those right now. That's each individual person to do. I'm willing to have those discussions, but not now. Oh, but you need money to survive. Yeah. I've heard it all before, your excuses, and they're bullshit. There's truth in them, but it's not, one shouldn't let these excuses be the end of the sentence. It's an invitation to start exploring really what's going on, and to look for new strategies, and to find that security, to find what money is offering you, to make it work for you and not against you. So at work, I'm slowing down in the sense that I'm no longer working fast to do what other people think is right, because that's what they believe brings value or financial capital to them, and power to them in that sense, or resources to them. But understanding myself, like, look, the equation is actually a little bit different. The short-term equation that they're running to make capital isn't bringing us towards the goals that we actually care about, and we will all benefit in the long run if we take a different strategy. Going slow to go fast is not a new thing. And it feels good. It feels really amazing to stay true to what I want to do. And it makes me really sad to see other friends, people, majority of people that I know are not doing what they want to do. And the adventures, we could be doing so many cool things together, going on adventures and hanging out, just living, really, loving, connecting, experiencing novelty, creating, exploring, not just outwards, but also perhaps in terms of our consciousness, or perhaps in terms of technology, really making progress in all these areas, instead of this state that we currently see, where there is such a waste of progression, such a lack of progression, because everyone is burning fast, not living to their full potential. Now, there's something to be said about the slave model, because a lot of great things have been built like this. And you can have happy slaves, and now, in the sense that happy workers, right? There's a lot of people happy in that situation. They're treated well, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think we need leaders. We need people who are happy to work, to fulfill other people's visions, to be part of that, and that's a good thing, working together. But as soon as that becomes more as soon as the individual's ability to take care of themselves, self-actualize, they become dependent, they start to get weaker. This is a biological law, I guess. What you don't train or use will get weaker, and you start relying on other strategies to provide you with safety and security. So we start to see things such as dependent on social programs, or dependent on unions, all of these other sort of things, because we're unable to take care of ourselves. So a big part of the vision for dream organism is to do things differently, to come together and have these benefits, to be able to create masterpieces, sense of like pyramids, cathedrals, using a model that has been employed in the past, sort of guilds, workers' guilds, artisan guilds, where it's more based on a model of trust and mutual respect, belonging, of free will, going back more to this, and instead of this idea of clinging to external people, structures, and to provide safety, but focusing more on a maturation process, and constant maturation process, and strengthening process. So this place is most likely going to be put into the Genossenschaft. I'll have to translate that. Let me translate that. Okay, it means cooperative of some sort, I guess, foundation, I don't know. It's going to be managed under one of these constellations, and I hope to be a part of that. We'll see in the next few months how the networking and the trust and the vision goes. And oftentimes this is where we see, the failure in a lot of the current thinking around the world. You can only be a part of such things if you bring a certain sense of value. And for value, for most people, they think of it as money. You have to bring the capital to be a part of the controlling board, to have the benefits of passive income and all of the other different benefits that come with it. Now you have the slaves working for you. You have the workers who come and are dependent on that system and structure, and you reap the benefits simply because you had a bit of capital. Abstract value, money, the money system. More TVs. So here we are on the map. I gotta talk a lot about money, abstract value and thought, because these all tie together in a very interesting way. It's a very simple realization that, value has nothing actually to do with money. And if we want to start getting different results in our world and society, breaking out of this is very important. So, central thing I've been experimenting with over the last few months has been, connecting really to people, however I meet them. There's a really good, I think it's a biblical thing that says, what is it? It's like, I, thy Lord, try the heart. Let me just fucking Google this. Okay, it's Jeremiah 17:10. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? I, the Lord, search the heart, I try the reins, even to give every man according to his ways and the fruit of his doings. So, that passage I like it a lot because it's much more to do about the here and now, how people are, what we do, how we think. This is important. Ooh, a little tree house thing over there. House. And this idea of, someone joined the cooperative, but they didn't bring any start capital, and to make them work like a pleb, even if that person is providing, would provide much more substantial value if we were to put trust in them. In a sense, an investment, right? People know this who have money. They have money and they give people, sometimes unfettered, but sometimes with strings attached, opportunities, which they, of course, often capitalize on or want to capitalize on. But the idea in general, even removing money from it, is a very powerful one. And we should be using this, even if we do not get financial gain. But of course, even if it's always nice to get that back on top. And I think it's a cool, power circle area. I don't know. What does it say here on the map? Das Medizinrad. So building up organizations that work based on these ideas of teaching people how to control themselves and grow into their potential. This mixing of school, therapeutic clinic, work, home, community, merging all of this back into one, as it should be. Life is all of these things continuously and not discrete chunks like we've currently blocked it up. It's very limiting on the human potential. This is the Keltenplatz. Yeah, it's very cool to see that, there are efforts like this. There are many opportunities. And we do give things freely without expectations attached a lot of the time. And things work the best when we do them this way. And so bringing this into the default form of our organizational structures and ways that we work together seems to be a win. Now, let's talk about cryptocurrencies, because a lot of these different cryptocurrencies, they have, let's talk about Elon Musk for a bit, and what's going on there. It's a very interesting phenomenon where I think a lot of people will give credibility and viability to things that they don't understand simply because someone who is successful in a certain area has said something or done something. Now, while this can be a good way to find security or truth, the better way is, of course, to grow into one's own power and to realize what I don't know, and to try to learn about it. The more one learns, the easier it gets. And knowledge is real power and not just following the crowd. So, Elon Musk has bought a lot of cryptocurrencies and put a lot of, I don't know, was it like $1 billion or something into Bitcoin? And value is a very interesting thing. One should take apart their assumptions and beliefs about what it is and how it operates. And what you're actually doing there and deciding to do, and what feelings are arising and causing one to do things. Because gold is not value, Bitcoin is not new gold, Bitcoin is Bitcoin, and gold is gold, and the relationship between fiscal value and these different things is not an intrinsic fact of nature. And just because the way that the current system is, doesn't imply some truth about its existence or value or anything like that. Much more interesting is the people, in our understanding, social constructs, as people call them. But these are just social constructs, are just a collection of individual constructs or concepts. So what are your concepts about money? Value. So we have a plethora of these cryptocurrencies coming about, and I'm sure many people have put their money into them, expecting something in return, without knowing what it is they're even doing, what it is that they're supporting. And this is a shame. It's very natural impulses. we have this gambling nature and excitement within us. And I find the abstract nature of what we're dealing with somehow makes it very intangible. I believe many people would not give strangers money or invest in projects if they met the people behind them. I also believe, I think people do invest in a lot of products and people as well, even if they shouldn't be. I blab. Where are we now? 24. Der Zeremonieplatz. Trying to keep my focus. It's difficult. So these thousands of cryptocurrencies are coming about, a lot of them trying to change an existing system, a past system, offer an alternative, but they don't attack the cause of the problem. And they don't really understand, in my opinion, they don't even talk about what it is that money is trying to do. What is its purpose? Where do things go astray in the current systems? A lot of them are focused on this idea of, security. It's more secure, we can decentralize it and blah, blah. Most people haven't actually understood how trust works between people. And a mathematical trust or a formula still doesn't really offer you anything different. Much more important is understanding what really is value and power and trust and those dynamics. The fact that most models revolve around, there's many different experiments that people have around the way that inflation and these different concepts work, how much money is in circulation. And I don't think most people have grasped. They're still sort of stuck in the past a little bit about how money currently works and building up digital models of that instead of going back to first principles and realizing that it's mainly a method of trade, a way of facilitating exchange of resources, and as a byproduct, power. Resources are not the same as power, but having resources can be powerful. There's a freaking hammock here, it's sweet. So by resources, I don't mean money. I mean food, shelter, people, opportunity to novelty, collection, connection, not collection. Alright. Oh, this is annoying. I talked and I didn't have the phone recording. I don't have much battery, so I'll have to continue another time. But I wanted to just tell a story that I was told about this place, which is really cool, is that this was picked up from a trade center or convention in Berlin, and they didn't want this building anymore. They paid him 3,000 euros to get rid of it. And he got rid of it. So we have this beautiful seminar room now where, yeah, I found that to be a cool story. I will do a quick summary of what I was talking about, which is that we cannot expect to, or by looking at what we actually care about, by looking at the technology of money. So resources and trade, distribution, sharing, collaboration, connection. We can start to re-envision tools and techniques to offer this without the downsides that come from the old technology of having, let's say, money. So, yeah, when people go and when we have new technologies and opportunities, our general tendency, I'm gonna put my shoes on, a general tendency is to use what we currently know in the old thinking to put that into the new. So we have websites that work in page-based layouts like the print medium, instead of using the interactivity that we have available to us. We're still learning how to use this new, very flexible, abstract technology to its fullest. And I believe these thousands of cryptocurrencies that we have, we can do much better in terms of offering tooling for trade and connection and so on and so forth. And I'm building my own. I'll talk about this a bit another time, the details of the experiments and the hypotheses that I have, how trust works and security and all of these things. I just want to say I hope that we do not, I think we can do much better than simply replicating what we have in a digital space. The battery is getting low. I need this to get home, so I think I will shut it down for now. Maybe I can peek into one of the buildings quickly.